Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play of Myst 3 Exile. Riven may be considered the best of the Myst games, but Exile is my favorite. I love the music, the worlds stick out in my mind, and it was the first game I believe I was actually able to complete without having a hint book with me. And the only one. The other ones I did have to reference other things and find hints and the like. I think this one I completed on my own. My memory could be wrong, but I think. So, let's get started here.
I realized as our group linked back to Dunny that we should not restore the city as we had planned. The once magnificent buildings lay in ruin, a testament to the hatred that had consumed them. Too many people had fallen victim to that hate, to the prejudice and greed from which it sprang. Gazing out across the cavern, I decided to write another age, one that would help the Dunny survivors begin again, free from the tragedies of their past. So with my wife, Catherine, supporting me, I put aside that past to write a future. More than a year has gone by since I finished writing Relishon. I have a new daughter, who I hope will someday link to that age with me. And as I imagine Yisha meeting the Dunny, those brave men and women who are building a new life for themselves, I realize I've been given another chance as well. A chance to learn from my mistakes and leave the past behind me once and for all.
That music.
Breathtaking, isn't it? We call it Tamana. We moved here after Atrus finished writing Relishon. He wanted us to have a new home too. I'm so glad to see you. I told Atrus our paths would cross again. He was just going to grab something for your trip to Relishon, so he shouldn't be terribly long. Unless he decides to check over the whole house first, which means he could be hours resetting all his padlocks.
Of course.
But I know he was looking forward to introducing you to the Dunny, so he shouldn't be terribly long. Why don't you wait in his study?
Of course, Catherine. And welcome to Tamana. Welcome to the world of Exile. As you can see, things are a little different. Not only do they look a lot more beautiful, but I'm actually able to look around like this, instead of just, well, clicking and turning. A change they made for Exile.
You know, this trip is exactly what Atrus needs right now. I haven't been able to get him out of the house for months, ever since he found his journals out of place. But seeing how well the Dunny have settled in on Relishon should help him to finally relax.
And yes, this is, that's Catherine, their new daughter, Yisha. Atrus is somewhere. And, yeah, a note was made of the fact that... Okay, that door's locked.
The other door.
Of course. And yes, we are still the same stranger who knew them. Somehow we were able to find them again. Alright. Let us take a look around. Ah. The old Riven linking book. Yes, it didn't can survive. Well, we've got his desk, we've got, shelves there, not much. Catherine and Yisha, fair enough. Interesting crystal he has on display there. Tamon, thank you for responding so quickly to my request for Nara padlocks. As you know, security in Tamana has become an important issue of late. Perhaps I am overreacting, as Catherine suggests, but the idea that someone may have been sneaking into my study, reading all of my journals, disturbs me. After what happened to my library on Myst, after my own sons Cirrus and Aknar destroyed so many of my books, I've come to realize how delicate the link is to my worlds. I've never been able to repair those burned books, to link to each age and find out if the inhabitants survived. The padlocks won't change that situation, but they should ease my fear of trespassers considerably. Sincerely, Atrus. Cirrus and Aknar. Yeah, nothing much there. Well, he's been working. That looks like... I'm guessing that's all the Dunny. If you remember from what I said, the Dunny effectively seemed to almost be extinct. Some disease, I believe it was, correct me if I'm wrong, that had ravaged the Dunny homeland and destroyed their city. The only Dunny managed to survive by retreating into their ages. Atrus has been a busy boy. He's been finding as many Dunny as he can and gathering them all together. It sounds like he wrote a world for them to live in. Yes, in fact, this is, as he described, the Dunny pointing at the city of the Dunny, which was long destroyed. So this must be them arriving in Relation. Must be a beautiful world. It would be lovely to look at. Oh, there's the book. He does have it protected.
Well, my friend.
Oh.
I see you found the Relation book. Catherine tells me you've been here for some time. Sorry if I've kept you waiting. Since we'll be gone a few days, I needed to secure some of my things. And I also wanted to bring you this. It's a journal I kept while I was writing Relation. I thought you might find it interesting to read about what I'd hoped to achieve.
Thank you.
Compared to what the age truly is. Well, just let me get my keys to unlock Relation and we'll be off.
Sure thing.
I'm interested in hearing what you've been up to in recent months.
What? Who the? What the? Oh, shit. Atrus! Oh, what the fuck? Atrus! I got him. Hey! Get back here! Come back here, you! You are not getting away from me! It locked the door! Son of a... So much for, massive amounts of security. I guess I don't care if they can just smash the glass and... Where the hell are we? Well, I have to find a way in there. Seems he's staying in there, so... I don't think there's any other way out. We'll have to find a way to unlock this, or find some other way in. Well... I suppose we can take a look at, Atrus's book. See what he had to say about Relation. Not going anywhere anytime soon, so... I always feared this day would come. For years, Catherine and I have dreamed of restoring Dunny. We have dedicated our lives to the task, taking it upon ourselves to locate the citizens of Dunny and convince them to return to their ruined city and rebuild. Our dream has become the dream of so many now, and the progress we have made toward achieving it is something of which we can all stand proud. But I know now that it has been a mistake. The city of Dunny should not be restored. It should stand forever in ruins, as both a symbol of our past mistakes and a memorial to all who lost their lives when Dunny fell. The devastating events of recent months, the war on Terranee and the death of Uta in particular, have driven this truth home to me quite forcefully. If we rebuild the city walls today, we are not giving approval to the very illness. Are we not giving approval to the very illness that destroyed our civilization in the first place? Are we not setting ourselves up to repeat that pattern again in future generations? I have put much thought into this tonight and have found only one solution. If we, the men and women who survived the downfall of Dunny, are to thrive, then we must break the pattern of hatred which has destroyed so many lives. We must begin our civilization anew. And we can only do that if I write us a new age. I have spoken with Catherine about this and she agrees. I only hope the others will see it as well. Will these people never cease to amaze me? I thought they would object to my decision. After all, most of them linked back to Dunny specifically to see the city rebuilt. But when I told them why we should not restore it, their response was immediate and unanimous. Whereas yesterday they thought only of rebuilding, today they concentrate solely on salvage. They intend to take from their ruined city only that which is best and move on. Everywhere I look, the enthusiasm for this new task is obvious. It heartens me, even as I face my own monumental contribution. I have written many ages in my lifetime, from my first timid attempts under the tyrannical tutelage of my father to my most recent accomplishment, Avaron. Never before has so much been riding on my skill. The age I am about to write must be all I ever imagined and more. How am I going to achieve it? Catherine laughed this morning when she saw me dredging out my old notebooks. I must have made quite the picture, sitting near the embers of a fire, surrounded by countless commentaries and journals. Some of them seemed more dust than paper, but the hours I spent sifting through them was worth it. Ideas for what this new age might be are tumbling around in my head. There are almost too many to catch hold of. Obviously, I must choose some starting point as my anchor. Writing ages is a science, a precisely structured execution of words. Every elocution needs as its foundation an underlying concept around which the age can develop. In the past, I have written my books around whatever idea intrigued me most at the time. I wanted to discover how the age to which the book linked would manifest the results of that idea. Sometimes civilizations had arisen, sometimes they had not. But whether a society had come to exist on the age or not, it was often in response to whatever concept the book I had written embodied. This time, my search for a concept must be weighed very carefully. I already have the civilization I wish to see develop. I know our history as a people and the paths we have followed to arrive here. Today I must write a book which will link to an age that will allow us to continue on our way, growing ever stronger as one people. What underlying concept must this new age reflect that will best allow our civilization to thrive? I fear I must think on this some more. It has taken me some time, but I may have found my anchor. It came to me as I was considering what I know about the survivors of Dunny. We have seen so much tragedy in our lives, from the destruction of the city to the suffering and loss of loved ones due to plague and deprivation. Yet even in the midst of these adversities, my kinsman and I have found the strength to keep going. We have tapped into our individual strengths and transformed ourselves into something much stronger. It is a characteristic I have seen in several of my ages, whenever I focused my writing on the inherent energy sources in a world. Long ago, grandmother taught me that no life, no possibility for life in an age, exists without the presence of energy. By tapping into its latent energy sources, an age moves out of stasis. It grows, transforms, and develops. Energy is the underlying fuel that powers all activity. To put it more simply, energy powers future motion. Yet, as grandmother also liked to remind me, energy in an age takes on diverse forms. Each one has strengths and weaknesses of its own. How many forms will this new age contain? What type will be its dominant theme? Tomorrow I will link back to Myst, and from there revisit several of my ages. Perhaps in my old worlds I will discover new ideas. I had almost forgotten how painful it is to revisit Myst. In the 10 years since my sons, Cirrus and Aknar, left me trapped on Kavir Island and burned so many of my books, Catherine and I have barely linked back. I told myself we were always too busy. First with writing ages like Averon, then with searching the ages of Dunny for survivors. I always said we would spend more time on Myst eventually. The truth is, I have been avoiding the age. Seeing the island in its current condition ignites such anger and grief. I am immediately reminded of the betrayal of my sons, as well as the cruelty and greed with which they plundered my ages. I know I am partially responsible for these acts. I constantly wonder if there were something I could have done to reach out to the boys before. Enough. Nothing can change the tragedies of the past. Like my Dunny kinsman, I must salvage what is best and move on. Perhaps in the process I will find forgiveness and hope. Once again I am back on Myst Island, having completed a lengthy sojourn through several of my ages. The trip itself was not as inspiring as I had hoped. The Selenetic age was especially disturbing, but has it not always been so? The very first time I linked to the age, its uninhabited landscape was shaking with tremors. At the time, I felt it was because the energy in the age was unfocused, as if it were at war with itself. Stability finally came, but even after it did, I never truly felt comfortable there. I missed the more natural balance of ages like Channelwood. Perhaps that is the lesson to take home with me. The Dunny, too, have faced much turmoil in their history. Their lives have been unsettled enough. Perhaps I should be striving to offset the energy that already exists within our civilization by providing it with a more stabilized environment in which to grow. An environment in which the natural equilibrium of the world serves as a counterpoint to the upheavals of civilization. The more I consider it, the more I wonder if I should make nature the foundation of this new age. Worlds like Channelwood attain equilibrium quite easily, primarily because of one reason. Nature encourages mutual dependence. As one life withers and dies, it provides nourishment so that another might live. Plants become food for other animals, and the waste products animals cannot absorb become nutrients to sustain the other plants. So long as nothing intrudes to upset this balance, nature can maintain itself indefinitely. An interesting metaphor to set as an example for my people. I think I will confer with Catherine on this project. Her ages always exhibit symbiosis more dramatically than mine. Perhaps she should help me write this new age. I'm so tired. I can barely think right now. But I will force myself to stay focused, for I have not written anything in days. The moment I linked back to Dunny, I was besieged with requests for my assistance. Master Tamon wanted to consult over which stonecutters were worth salvaging, and did I think the rock in this new age would be difficult to sound. Oma and Essel needed my opinion about a new history they had uncovered. Should they hold off on starting its translation, or would paper supplies be scarce in the new age? There were so many questions needing answers, I barely had time to see Catherine. She, of course, laughed at my dilemma, saying that I had no one to blame but myself. After all, I was the one who encouraged the Dunny to start over. Naturally, they would look to me to keep them moving in the right direction, unless some other force stepped in to change that view. Her words made me realize a fundamental principle I had thus far been ignoring. All this time, I have been debating whether to make energy or nature the underlying framework for this age. But there is another equation to consider. An age based solely on the future motion of energy will face constant upheavals, most likely at the cost of tranquility, and an age based solely on the mutual dependence of nature can become so balanced over time it may cease to tolerate change. Yet to continue to grow as a people, Dunny civilization needs both. Occasional upheavals followed by periods of balanced stability. I have seen such situations occur naturally on several of my ages. Each time it was because I centered the writing around some dynamic force that I had decided to make prevalent in the age. Such forces allow the balance between forward motion and mutual dependence to fluctuate. As one concept takes precedence, the other recedes until another force surfaces to change things. As Catherine's insightful comment reminded me, dynamic forces spur change. Too tired to think more on this tonight. Hopefully in the morning my thoughts will coalesce. Catherine surprised me today. Apparently while I was off visiting my ages, she linked to Myst by herself. She did not say so, but I could tell that her visit had been painful. More than ever now, I am convinced we must find a place to begin again ourselves. Perhaps when I have written this new age for the Dunny, I will put some thought into where Catherine and I might live. I cannot believe I did not see it before. All this time I have been struggling to describe the perfect age for the Dunny. I've considered and then rejected several underlying concepts which I felt might best set the course for their future, as if I alone should determine how Dunny's civilization will grow. In my own way, I've become as egotistical as my father. In truth, I owe this realization to Catherine. Sensing my indecision about the new age, she led me on a walk around Dunny. Salvaging efforts were well underway, with teams of people scouring the ruined harbor district. As I watched my Dunny kinsmen deciding which parts of their culture to retain, I realized they do not need me to determine their future. They are quite capable of setting its course by themselves, regardless of what age I write. This realization has opened my eyes to the best way of approaching my task. I no longer need to worry about which underlying concept, energy, nature, or dynamic forces I should make prevalent in this age. Rather, must strive to include them all. I must write a balance of systems into the descriptive book, enough so that the Dunny people will constantly be challenged to attain their ultimate potential. As grandmother often pointed out to me when we spoke about ages back on Myst, balanced systems stimulate civilizations. At last I feel I am ready to begin writing this age. Indeed, I am eager to begin, and have already come up with the perfect name. I know grandmother would have loved it. Of course, Catherine could tell the moment I turned to her that I had finally found my starting point. I babbled on excitedly for some time before I noticed the smile she was hiding. When I saw it enough to grow suspicious, she handed me one of my oldest age books. She must have picked it up when she linked back to Myst. Seeing the name Jananin emblazoned on the book cover, I could only shake my head. The one age I never got around to revisiting was the one that might have helped me the most. How foolish I was to have completely forgotten it. I think, after I have finished this work, I should take one final trip, if only to help restore an old fool's memories. Well, that was certainly a story. Jananin. I believe Jananin is the age we are currently in. Of all the ages he mentioned. Why? Reasons we'll discover. This man, whoever he is, what is he doing in there? And more importantly, why is he here? Why did he steal the Relation book? Who is he? Well, we'll need to figure out what to do from here. There's much to do, much to explore, much to see. And I think we'll start that in the next episode. This seems a good starting point. Till then, I'm Chester44. This has been a Let's Play of Exile, and I shall see you all next time.